The workplace will be a different place in 2010. Thanks to action from Congress this year, President Obama has signed multiple laws impacting companies, agencies, and their employees. One of the first, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, a top priority for the president, which changed the rules on discrimination cases in the workplace, basically giving employers more time to sue over discriminating pay issues. And it's not the only one worth paying attention to. And here with us now to look at some of these big changes, John Mahoney, a federal sector labor and employment lawyer with the law firm Tully, Rinckey. John, thanks for being here. And let's start with this change in the laws regarding genetics. Talk to me a little bit about this law here.
Sure. This is an important development that certainly favors employees. It is something that Congress, I think, and the President wanted to get out in front of in terms of preventing potential future discrimination against people based upon their genetic disposition, but for potential future conditions or disabilities.
And the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act of 2008, it went into effect just about a month ago, basically makes it illegal to discriminate against employees or applicants because of genetic information. Was that happening or at all, or was this one of those we see it becoming an issue down the line sort of pieces?
I think it was more of a we see it becoming an issue down the line, but certainly there are some isolated incidents where more high-tech savvy corporations were taking into consideration a potential employee's genetic disposition for future diseases in making employment determinations. But it is something that now will be protected and will be prevented in the future.
Let's talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's one of those pieces of legislation that gets updated pretty regularly. These went into effect at the beginning of 2009, but are still, playing out and affecting businesses. What are the big headlines here?
Well, the big headlines are that this is a major change to the Americans with Disabilities Act. It applies to both the federal government and private corporations. It really changes the way that the Americans with Disabilities Act is interpreted by courts and broadens the protection of the act for folks who had previous difficulty in getting coverage. Specifically, it deals with how you determine whether someone is in fact disabled. It lists several conditions that are considered to be automatically covered as a disability.
Like what?
Cancer, AIDS, epilepsy, some other conditions where previously the person would have to spend a lot of time proving that their condition substantially impacted a major life activity. And now it's presumed if you have that condition or one of those conditions, you're automatically covered, and you can move to the second step of the litigation, which is to prove that a personnel action occurred because of discrimination based upon that disability.
Let's go look at the 2010 Defense Authorization Bill. Now, this means that some DoD employees may end up losing some pay?
Yes, that's true. In putting former DoD employees who are under the National Security Pay System back under the traditional general schedule system, they will potentially lose the heightened performance pay that they were given under that NPS system. And the problem is that OPM now has to deal with how to protect that pay or a portion of that pay into the future. And what we've seen OPM proposed so far is to stop a reduction in the pay, but also prevent the employees from getting any additional pay until their GS grade pay catches up to what their former NSPS pay is.
John, looking forward to 2010, are there any other big laws that you see coming into effect?
Well, certainly, the health care reform bill that you spoke about earlier is the major legislation that's pending on the Hill, and certainly it is preventing a lot of other bills from getting floor time. So that's the main one. But it does look like, based on the fact that President Obama's first statute that he passed was the Lilly Ledbetter Act, that equal pay and other employment discrimination and other civil rights statutes are going to play a prominent role in his administration.
John Mahoney from Tully, Rinckey, thanks for coming in and talking to us. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Chris.